St. Louis, the soccer capital of America. Many of you may know I'm from St. Louis, and soccer's been a huge part of my life since I've only been about 3 years old. I've grown up around the sport in St. Louis, and I've seen firsthand the passion the city really has for the game of soccer. Now the people and city of St. Louis are trying to bring Major League Soccer to the area. There's been a recent push due to the Rams being relocated from St. Louis now to Los Angeles. The MLS currently has 20 teams with plans on adding 4 more by 2020. St. Louis is not one of those 4 teams. However, the league eventually plans on adding 4 more in the future, which will total in 28 teams. St. Louis hopefully being one of those 28. So now I'm just going to show you a quick video, a little bit on the MLS, and just show you about the passion the fans and players both really have for the game.
Stand as one. Stand for the game. All rise for the new season of Major League Soccer coming.
So as you can see from that video, the great and vast amount of emotions that both players and fans have for the game of soccer. So in preview, first I'm going to talk about the 3 main reasons why St. Louis has failed in the past on bringing a professional team to the area. Then after that, I'll identify the new and important changes and actions that are being done by the people of St. Louis to bring the MLS here to St. Louis. So why has St. Louis not been able to be the home of an MLS team? Why no team? The first and biggest reason is the ownership groups. St. Louis in the past could never come up with enough deep-pocketed groups of owners to back an MLS franchise. That most likely being the result of the huge hefty fine, the franchise fee that the league imposes on teams that are trying to get into the MLS. That fine is over $100 million, so you can obviously see how an unsure owner would easily be scared away and back off. The second reason why people are against bringing professional soccer to St. Louis is because St. Louis does not have the soccer-specific stadiums the league is looking for. St. Louis has Busch Stadium, Everett Jones Dome, and then the Scottrade Center. However, these are not the soccer-specific stadiums the league is really looking for. These soccer-specific stadiums, they're smaller in capacity and really capture the emotions and feelings that go along with the game of soccer. The third and final reason why people have had their doubts about St. Louis in the past is the fan base. League members aren't quite sure if St. Louis could support a new and upcoming franchise. Me personally, I find that very hard to believe. As I said earlier, I grew up in St. Louis, and I've seen firsthand just the amount of passion that people really have for the game of soccer. So now, what is being done by the people of St. Louis to push for MLS team? First is ownership groups. MLS2STL, it's a new group of local business and sports leaders that have come together with the main focus to work with the St. Louis Sports Commission to discuss potential team owners, stadium sites, and funding options, and really the overall viability of the St. Louis region on being home to an MLS expansion franchise. Also, really to explore and advance the St. Louis candidacy to be awarded this new professional expansion team. So now that you can see that St. Louis will be able to afford it, let's look at the next region. The stadium plans. League leaders and members of the MLS2STL are beginning to find a common ground on the exact area that would benefit the league in building a new stadium. That area being the St. Louis riverfront. This riverfront is just north of the Gateway Arch and downtown area of St. Louis. These downtown stadiums are the new trend and have become increasingly successful amongst the league. Commissioner Don Garber says the league likes downtown stadiums. They connect fans to the city, public transit, bicycle routes, and hit downtown business districts like Washington Avenue and St. Louis. He also says, I'm very intrigued about being adjacent to one of America's great national treasures, that being the Gateway Arch, and being a part of what we've heard is a major revitalization of the riverfront. That would give our club the opportunity to be a really deeply connected, important part of the community. This here is just a picture of the riverfront area for the site where a stadium could possibly be built. As you can see, it's right along the Mississippi River, and just north of the Gateway Arch and downtown St. Louis area. So last improvement us people of St. Louis are making is our fans. St. Louis soccer fans are known as the Luligans. Commissioner Don Garber says, nobody argues that St. Louis is not a great soccer market. It has a passionate fan base and a great soccer history. With packed crowds and national team and international soccer games here, St. Louis fans have recently proven their market power. The league also likes the potential rivalries between St. Louis and existing teams in Kansas City and Chicago. Over the past few years, St. Louis has had the opportunity to host some international friendlies between countries and then also some of Europe's largest clubs. I've had the privilege to attend 3 of those 5, these 3 being listed here. First, I got to attend the Real Madrid versus Inter Milan game, which was hosted at the Edward Jones Dome. There was a huge crowd of over 54,000. Next, the Manchester City versus Chelsea game and the Argentina versus Bosnia game. Both of those were played at Busch Stadium. Personally, I really enjoyed both of those being outside, sitting in one of the country's most iconic baseball stadiums. Next, these are just some pictures of the games. This top one on the left, this is the Edward Jones Dome, the game between Real Madrid and Inter Milan. As you can see, a total sold-out crowd, which really makes a great atmosphere for the players to play in. Then my favorite on the bottom right is the iconic Busch Stadium. Once again, as you can see, the completely sold-out crowd. It's really just the best of both worlds. One of the most iconic stadiums in the nation, and some of the world's best soccer players. So these examples of past attendance shows how loyalty, passion, and attendance has never really been a reason for no MLS team in St. Louis. To say the least, the future is very bright. So in review, I've identified some of the reasons why St. Louis has failed in the past on bringing a team to the area. Then I also identified what's being done now to push for the MLS team to come to St. Louis. St. Louis's rich soccer history makes it the perfect city to start a Major League Soccer franchise. As you now have learned, the city of St. Louis has been pushing for an MLS team since the beginning of the league in 1996. Not having a team has never been the result of lack of passion or love for the game, but rather having the wealthy business owners that are needed to provide a solid backbone for a new and upcoming professional soccer franchise. With all this new information about St. Louis, we now know that it's only a matter of time until the soccer capital of America finally has their own professional soccer team. Thank you. Questions?